In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm Madison Kasper.
And I'm Daniel Lopez. Welcome back, Sharks.
In this episode, we visited the second Cancer Survivorship Summit. We find out about the expectations for men's and women's soccer this season, and we look back on the importance of remembering 9/11 24 years later.
Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz hosted the second Cancer Survivorship Summit, addressing life after cancer diagnosis. My co-anchor Madison was on the scene.
Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz hosted her second Cancer Survivorship Summit. The summit included many speakers and panels, providing guests with information on cancer treatments, statistics, a cancer vaccine, and more. Debbie Wasserman Schultz says the focus of the summit is to make sure that a patient's entire journey from diagnosis to the aftermath of active treatment is something they know how to navigate.
Making sure that young women and that young people are paying attention to their health earlier than they might normally, and also being aware of what is normal for them health-wise makes it more likely that they would catch a problem early and encourage them to go see a healthcare provider so that if, God forbid, it is a cancer diagnosis, that they can catch it early and make survivorship much more likely.
Lainey Jones is a 7-time cancer survivor. She shared her story and life motto at the summit.
I wake up every day with gratitude, celebrating every small victory, a smile from a friend, a sunny day from a simple joy, a cup of coffee. My motto is I live every day like it's my first.
Bill Zito, president and general manager of the Florida Panthers, is the keynote speaker for this event. He's personally been affected by this disease, having lost his mother, sister, and mother-in-law. His wife is also a breast cancer survivor. Although he was not personally sick, Bill Zito reminds everyone about the caregiver's role during a cancer patient's journey.
Am I worthy to be speaking about this? I wasn't sick, but caring about the caregiver and understanding that the healthier the caregiver, the healthier the patient, and that the process is very real, right? The emotional toll, the physical toll that it takes on people is extraordinary.
While guest speakers presented at the Rose and Alfred Miniacci Performing Arts Center, a fair took place in the Carl DeSantis building to provide guests with information and resources for cancer treatments.
My biggest takeaway is that, there are so many resources available. You can see here that there's so many tables of people that are willing to help, to be able to share their knowledge, to share their testimony of their cancer journey. And so there is someone that is available to help and support. You just have to be able to find and look for it.
This is the second year the Cancer Survivorship Summit has been hosted at NSU. Debbie Wasserman Schultz says that she hopes to continue hosting at NSU for years to come. I'm Madison Kasper with Mako TV. Up next, our reporter Olivia Nur asks our Sharks how they prepare for hurricane season.
Hurricane season runs from June 1st through November 30th here in Florida. Today, I will be asking Sharks how they prepare for an incoming storm. What are some ways that you prepare for an incoming hurricane?
Honestly, I don't have a set preparation, but we do get water and all the essentials that we need. And frankly, I just go about my day thinking that there's no hurricane.
One of the things that is really important is making sure that we stock up on a lot of supplies. So I've already stocked up on water for this hurricane season. Making sure that you have enough water is really important in case you run out of power and you run out of everything that you need. So we do a lot of that. And if we know that there's hurricanes coming, we always put up shutters and make sure that shutters are up so that we can be prepared in case of anything. And usually we'll kind of keep them on the whole season if there's a hurricane coming, just in case there's another hurricane coming.
Well, I mean, I'm a native, so sometimes we just don't prepare and we just chill and, but if it's serious, we'll put the shutters up and stuff like that. Water is important, a generator, that's probably it.
What are some ways that you prepare for an incoming hurricane?
For the most part, when there's a really, really bad one, I will, stock up on food and water, make sure I'm all good on that. But for the most part, since I really don't live here, if it's truly bad enough, it could be catastrophic, I just travel back home to get away from all of it, but
Just trying to keep my house like very safe. I put the shutter, like the metal shutters on my windows. Don't want them to break. Make sure I stock up on like all perishable material, like food and all that, and like water. You need water to live, and just make sure my family's safe too.
What are some ways that you prepare for an incoming hurricane?
How I prepare for an incoming hurricane is gather supplies like food and water. I also make sure everything in my house is secure, so grab batteries, make sure nothing's leaking, nothing can cause a flood in my house, prepare personal belongings in case of an evacuation.
We have heard from NSU students how they prepare for a storm. Stay safe and stay prepared, Sharks. I'm Olivia Nur with Mako TV.
Here to talk about updates with Mako Radio is DJ Romi. Welcome, DJ Romi.
Thank you for having me, Daniel. So this week we are back live on air on WKPX 88.5 FM Sunrise from 6 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday nights. And we have our lunch hour shows from Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday during the lunch hour. We're still on the countdown to College Radio Day, so on October 3rd, it's going to be a great day. So you could stay tuned with more updates at NSU_Mako Radio. And tonight we have our DJ night show with DJ Sunshine, DJ Lyric, and DJ Lucky. So stay tuned and hope you guys listen in.
Thank you for the updates, DJ Romi.
Thank you for having me, Daniel.
For our Donor Connect segment, our host Sarah Juman, Donor Relations Coordinator for University Advancement, sat down with Justin Weinstein to discuss the scholarship he started for NSU law students.
Welcome to Donor Connect. I'm Sarah Juman, and joining me today is Justin Weinstein. Glad to have you here, Justin.
Thanks for having me.
Justin is the founder of a thriving multi-location law firm, a dedicated adjunct professor, and a generous supporter of NSU law. He recently established a scholarship to empower future legal entrepreneurs, and I'm excited to dive into his journey, his passion for mentorship, and the impact of his gift on our students. Thank you, Justin. So excited to have you here.
I'm ready to talk. Let's do it.
Let's start from the beginning. What inspired your idea to start your own firm?
To open my own firm, when I graduated law school, I worked for 2 other law firms. And while working with them, I noticed that I didn't have the autonomy that I wanted to provide the legal services to the community the way that I wanted, and in the certain practice areas that those firms did not focus on. And that's what prompted me to decide, look, I'd like to hang up my own shingle.
And now you have 4 firm locations, and you employ several NSU law grads. That's really amazing. What do you look for when you're employing NSU law students?
It's very easy, I feel like, for people to stay stagnant once they get a job. It's like, okay, I got a job, I'm able to make my salary or whatever that is. Who are the people that are going to go above and beyond? Because those are the people that are really going to want to grow themselves and the firm. And if you could find someone that wants to grow themselves personally and the business, you've hit jackpot. And that's why NSU is so great, and that's why a lot of our interns, law clerks, even attorneys come from NSU.
It's amazing. And yeah, I agree as well. NSU really sets you up for success. And now, speaking of giving back, you recently established a scholarship here for NSU law students, especially those participating in the Sharon and Mitchell Berger Law Clinic Fund. So tell me a little bit about that. How did you get that started?
So if one of our missions is to continue to grow in order to reach as many people as possible, to help the community as much as possible, and in order to do that, I need to have, and majority of my firm, not just myself, need to have a grasp on business. The more people in your law firm that understand the concepts of business, the easier it will be for your firm to grow, because everybody's contributing in a business mindset on growth. So, I wanted to build this and provide the scholarship because I feel as if providing those skills to people that want to open their own practices, or even if they don't, just to have the knowledge. Do you know how much more valuable it makes you to a firm to say to the founding partner, I understand business. I understand the costs associated with business. I understand how much it takes to actually gain one client or to keep a client, retain that client. Those things are very important.
So we're almost done. But I just wanted to know if you had anything that you'd like to share about you, and this would be to our NSU donors, our NSU alumni, and our NSU law community.
I'm just excited to see the impact from especially the clinic and NSU Law and what we're able to achieve. I think if we're all putting together our resources, our collective knowledge, and what we've learned and giving back to our law students, we're going to be able to really bring our legal community to a whole new level. And I'm really glad to be a part of that. As I said before, NSU Law and NSU as a whole has been a very big part of me being a success at this point, and they'll continue to do that. So as I continue to give back, it's just a great experience, and I'm looking forward to it with the students.
Sounds great. I loved having you here. Your passion is contagious, so thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was awesome.
This has been Mako Media Donor Connect. I'm Sarah Juman. See you next time.
Thank you, Sarah. Next, for our sports segment, we have our sports reporter, Isabella Fernandez de Cueto, to give updates on NSU sports. Welcome, Isabella.
Thank you, Madison. Joining me is Maya Esparza from the NSU women's swim team. Welcome, Maya.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So men's and women's cross country began their season on September 5th. So what can you tell me about that beginning of the season?
Cross country had a great weekend this weekend. They were at the Kaiser Invitational, where the men took first and the women took second.
3 NSU athletes were named Sunshine State Conference Athletes of the Week. What are their achievements?
Jillian Thorning's picking up right where she left off last season, winning SSC Runner of the Week. She actually set a school record in the 5K, so go her. And on the women and men's soccer side, Nicholas Ricardo won the SSC Defensive Player of the Week and led the Sharks to a 2-0 weekend. And Alexa Brecky also led the Sharks to a 2-0 weekend and won Offensive Player of the Week.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Maya.
Thank you for having me.
Speaking of Nicholas Ricardo and Alexa Brecky, I had the opportunity to interview them about the expectations for their upcoming season.
Last season, the NSU men's soccer team finished in 4th place and made it to the conference quarterfinal, while the NSU women's soccer team finished in 3rd place and made it all the way to the second round of the NCAA tournament. Head men's soccer coach Matt MacArthur reflects on the key lessons from last season and how the team plans to build on them moving forward.
Just the intensity of college soccer. We had a lot of new lads come in last year and we have again this year, and it's just trying to get that mentality correct to really focus in on a college soccer season and how fast and furious it is, and know that every game matters as important as every other game.
Goalie Nicholas Ricardo explains what success means for the team both on and off the field this season.
On the field, obviously a national championship. That's a big thing. That's our main thing that we have posted up everywhere. And off the field, we just want to create a good bond, a good group of guys, and we definitely have that. And now it's just, since we have this time together, it's just mixing everything together.
As a new season of sports begins, both teams prepare for success. I spoke with sophomore Alexa Brecky about how the women's team keeps each other motivated.
We've really started to implement a positive environment and just motivating each other if someone's made a bad pass or maybe being a little bit harder on themselves over a simple mistake. We try to encourage them and uplift them.
Head women's soccer coach Amy Vaughn says the team's focus this season is to challenge and compete.
The same as every season. We always want to challenge for a national championship. We always want to challenge for regionals, to go to the NCAA tournament, conference tournament, always compete for conference. We're obviously in one of the toughest Division II conferences in the country. So expectations every day and standards every day need to be met. It's something that the team have already talked about. They set the standards. It's their environment. I'm just there to hopefully guide it.
NSU women's soccer plays their first conference game on September 20th against Florida Tech, while men's soccer plays their first conference game against Lynn. I'm Isabella Fernandez de Cueto with Mako TV.
Thank you, Isabella, and thank you, Maya. For our health update, my co-anchor Madison sat down with Dr. Artie Raja to discuss Ozempic and other GLP-1 drugs.
Welcome to the Health Update. I'm Madison Kasper. With me is Dr. Artie Raja, Mako Media's Science and Health Advisor. Welcome, Dr. Raja.
Thank you, Madison.
Our topic today is the use of Ozempic and other GLP-1 drugs. Dr. Raja, what is Ozempic and other GLP-1 drugs?
Ozempic is a drug that is used to actually treat diabetes. And
And in general, GLP-1 drugs are drugs that are meant to mimic a gut hormone called GLP-1. So what these drugs tend to do is they tend to increase the production of insulin, which then helps an individual break down blood sugar and keep their sugar levels down. And that's why it helps patients who are diabetic. But what it also does, it also controls hunger, which is a reason why they're used to control hunger, manage some diabetes as well.
Why are these drugs that are originally made to help with diabetes being used for weight loss?
So what happens with these GLP-1 drugs is one of the effects, or the way they have an effect, is they tend to have an anti-inflammatory effect. And that in general can be a good thing. So when you have an anti-inflammatory property that aids in many other scenarios in the human system, so what they're beginning to see is not having inflammation improves aging. Not having inflammation around is beneficial for your heart. It's beneficial for your joints. So suddenly now people are beginning to look at these drugs and say, oh, maybe there could be uses in many other indications or disease conditions, simply purely because these drugs have that anti-inflammatory property.
Now, what can happen if someone uses them and that isn't diabetic? Is there risks to that?
Right. The biggest risk being if they're using it and they're not diabetic and they're not actually trying to use it to control their weight, the biggest downside is malnutrition that they're going to see because they're rapidly going to lose weight and they're not going to have that sensation of hunger, and therefore they're not going to want to eat, and it ends up becoming a malnutrition scenario, and that is also not a good thing.
What are the common side effects associated with long-term use of these drugs?
In some patients, they tend to have discomfort in the GI region, so basically just upset stomach, either constipation or diarrhea, like it depends on the patient, but basically gut-related issues tends to be the most common side effect or symptom that they're feeling when they're taking these medications.
Any last thoughts?
While these are all new therapeutics, they are available as options for people. So at least being aware of it, speaking to the physician, diagnosing these things early so that they can get on a treatment option would be the best way to go about it.
Thank you, Dr. Raja.
Thank you, Madison.
This has been the Mako Media Health Update. I'm Madison Kasper. See you next time. Joining me for our arts segment is our executive producer and arts reporter, Jocelyn Saccucci. Welcome, Jocelyn.
Hi, Madison. Thank you for having me.
What's going on with arts here at NSU?
Natalie Alfonso is an award-winning artist known for working with different mediums. Her works will be shown in UC Gallery 217 starting on October 2nd at 5 p.m. DCMA is presenting their adaptation of Rent, the musical, in the Black Box Theater. The showings will take place on October 3rd and 4th at 7:30 p.m. and October 5th at 2 p.m. Over the weekend, the interactive play He Said Yes was hosted in NSU's Levant Center. Our reporter Isabella Perez was on the scene.
Okay, an emptying study?
Did that too.
He Said Yes is an interactive play written by Narissa Street. Actor Kasper describes how it displays positive aspects of masculinity.
I think this play in particular is a really interesting exploration of modern masculinity, the pressures that men face when it comes to relationships, when it comes to the daily pressures of their everyday life, and how that all kind of comes together as they make decisions throughout their day.
Attendee Camille Chavon defines why this story is important. She views the play as a unique way to present the message.
I'm an actress, and I saw that they were doing this kind of cool interactive sort of way of storytelling. And what caught my eye too, I think it was something about positive masculinity. And I was like, well, there's something you don't hear every day, you know? And I was intrigued, truly. So I was like, well, you know, how could it go wrong? It's got a fantastic cast, and, you know, we all need a little positive masculinity in our lives, don't we?
Tanika Clark, the lead actress, regards her character as the core of the play. She believes her character shows current attitudes.
Well, Zuri is kind of
like the message of the play, because she is the one who asked Dr. Sloan to marry her. And so that is very, very, it's kind of a picture of what's happening in our society and what's modern, like what I said in the play, what's modern, what's efficient, and yeah.
Narissa Street wrote an interactive play to share true stories of masculinity in all its forms.
Through the use of interactive theater, we have placed the power of the narrative into their hands. They've collaborated with us, and what was the most amazing thing is that we gave the opportunity to the audience plenty of times for them to say no, and they didn't. They were excited to say yes.
The play had many details in set design as well. Stage manager Alexa Frank says she put a lot of thought into it.
I hope they just notice all the small intricacies in the play. 'Cause we've spent so much time tweaking every prop, every table, every choice the actors make while acting on stage, and just playing around and trying to find something that's fun and interesting while still getting that deeper message across.
He Said Yes was a play that was showcased at the Alan B. Levon Center. I am Isabella Perez with Mako TV.
Thank you, Isabella. For our Sharks in the Arts segment, our reporter Carrie Corson sat down with Associate Professor Candy Lopez to learn more about her art and her work here at NSU.
Welcome to Sharks in the Arts. I'm Carrie Corson. Our guest today is artist Candy G. Lopez. Hi, Candy. We appreciate you being with us today.
Hey, what's up?
Can you tell me, how are you inspired by the students that you work with and teach?
A lot of the students that are coming in now are really interested in illustration and character design and a lot of anime too. So those things I keep in mind when I'm teaching them what I need to teach them technically. So by the time they get into senior year, at least they have like the traditional, hopefully, techniques to be able to do whatever it is that they need to do, so that by the time they graduate, they could get the job that they want.
Now, you are what's considered to be an interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary artist. Can you explain what that means?
That means that there's an artist who plays a lot with different mediums. So it's not just, I'm not just a painter, but I can also print make. I can do some sculptural and ceramics, even though I don't feel like I'm the best, but it's possible. But it's like playing with a lot of different mediums.
What types of themes do you like to explore in your work?
People that have this magic when they enter a room, and it's not just like what they're wearing, it's also like how they present themselves. So I'm interested in that. I'm also interested in representing people that look like me from my community, so Black and brown people, especially within the arts, and how we're represented historically, but also contemporary in the art world and also in media.
Can you explain what are some of the most important works or the shows that you've been the most proud of?
I've been working on creating these large-scale fiber portraits. So they're made out of yarn or thread. The smallest is like 8 feet tall, so they're pretty large. I'm 5 feet, so I'm like on a ladder trying to figure out how to make a person look like a person with yarn. One of like the biggest shows that I really loved was at my current gallery, so ACA Galleries in New York, in Chelsea. And when the solo show was up, that was in 2023, it was like, I don't know, 500 to 1,000 people came into like this small space that was like in the high-end Chelsea area. Another one was the Orlando Museum of Art, which just closed. That was an amazing show because it's Florida, and I was raised in Florida, even though I was born in Jersey. So having that kind of community too was really important to see inside of that space.
Historically, women artists have been underrepresented in museums and fine art settings. What are your feelings about this?
Well, being a minority and also being female and small comes with a lot of responsibility, and that's just put on you the minute you're born. Like, I don't choose to be this, but I am. And I didn't really choose art. It kind of just like fell on my lap, to be honest. So especially as a teacher, because going back to the teacher question, like it's really important to be a mentor for the students too, and like being in a space where like my teachers were all white men until I got to grad school, and then I had maybe one or two colored people and female. So having the ability to have that at a young age and seeing that there could be like a trajectory of your career because you can see it in your teachers and mentors is really important for me.
Well, thanks so much for speaking with us here at Mako TV. Information about Candy's work is available at candylopez.com and on social media channels at Candy G. Lopez. I hope that you caught it that I called her Candy Lopez because I think that she's just glowing up, and it's an honor to have you with us today. This has been Sharks in the Arts. I'm Carrie Corson. Until next time, carry on.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Jocelyn, for all your updates.
Thank you, Madison.
To end off our show, Mako TV acknowledges the importance of remembering 9/11, a tragic event in America's history. Our reporter, Jonathan Paul, has the story.
It has been 24 years since the attacks on 9/11. Every year, it is important that we remember this tragic event in American history. Joining me in the remembrance of 9/11 this year is student Gabby Flora, whose father was present on 9/11, Associate Professor Jennifer Magus, and Communication Program Director Megan Fitzgerald.
At Hialeah Middle School, I was teaching language arts, and I was downstairs in the main office making photocopies when the first plane hit the tower. A lot of talk that perhaps it was like a small charter plane, but as I was standing in the office, the second plane hit the second tower, and it became really clear quickly that something much more horrific was going on. And then I returned back to my classroom and spent the day trying to find out as much as we could without upsetting the students.
It was very upsetting because at the time my boyfriend and soon to be my fiance, we were just getting engaged, was going into work that day. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, where is he? Where is he? And I ended up starting to try to call on my cell phone, and all the cell phones were jammed up and down the East Coast. So you couldn't get through to anyone in New York City. And we watched real time on TV as the towers came down. When my kids watch 9/11, I don't think it impacts them as much in that they didn't live through it personally. What does impact them is seeing how it impacted us as parents, because we lost friends. So even college friends I lost, which is really upsetting. And I don't think you realize it until you lose a friend or a family member.
Basically, my father is a commuter from Long Island, commutes into the city. That day in particular, he was in Midtown or a few blocks away from Wall Street where 9/11 took place. And he says that he could see the planes go into the building from where he was working. And I feel like with 9/11, the most important thing is just remembering the loved ones that have passed and trying to celebrate that, and also celebrating how the community was able to organize and rally against what was going on and the immense tragedy that was occurring and come closer together. So I feel like we can still learn things about that going forward.
That is all for this episode of Mako TV. You can catch our solo release videos on our YouTube channel at Mako Television.
You can also follow us on Instagram at NSU_Mako TV. Thank you for watching.
See you next time.
Go Sharks!